Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gacha Plus Living, or whatever it's titled. And we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to figure out the new name if we keep the name. On today's episode, we're gonna be going through briefly the Gacha revenue tier list because I know a lot of you people are still finding it interesting, and obviously there are some gachas new, NTE that weren't able to cover because we missed the month of May. A lot happened. A lot in our personal lives, a lot of like illnesses and jobs and everything, Then we're going to be talking about new games, Summer Game Fest, things like that just hit. So a bunch of new trailers, games coming out. Going to give some quick thoughts on that. Real briefly, I'm going to talk about the Lego Star Wars controversy. If you guys haven't been keeping up with that, obviously we talked about a little bit of Lego on this channel. The fourth topic we're going to talk about is movies, specifically the Backrooms, Obsession, and Iron Lung, this new YouTube genre. And then we're going to be talking about a new topic, which Com and I were trying to implement in a way, and I'm going to call it humanity, which is just going to be IRL topics, personal stories, tidbits, life advice, we all have different journeys of life, and, maybe sometimes we might be able to help each other. Not obviously, but before we start, some quick house cleaning. As you can see, I am by myself today. Com has decided to step down, and he prepared a statement, which I will read to you, that says, CommDAO is pulling back on most online activities, including podcasting, streaming, and content creation. I will talk about that more in the humanity portion. So that way, for those of you who just want to hear the podcast stuff and no drama, that'll be closer towards the end because it kind of ties into what I want to talk about today. But all right, so getting started today, we're going to be talking about the Gacha revenue. In first place from April to May, which ironically, that's when we missed. Oh, well, yeah, we're in June. Sorry, guys. Sorry. All right, coming in at number one, Love and Deep Space. They made about 48 million. Genshin Impact, 41. I mean, that's no surprise. Honkai Star Rail, lost. I think Honkai was weird. So I got on to get the Silver Wolf 1999 or 9,999. And I think a lot of people got on for like their whole anniversary era, but of course, it looks like that. That hype or that trend died down. Next up is Withering Waves with 31. Withering Waves, of course, I think this month is going to have a higher increase because of the whole Cyberpunk 1990 Cyberpunk. I was going to say reverse 1999. The Cyberpunk collab. I did get on to get the free character, but then I had to uninstall Withering Waves because I saw Withering Waves was 110 gigs, and like. I'm trying to play some other games on my computer right now, like to do on my Twitch, which will be linked on the info if you guys want to go see that. Arknights, I think they just finally got their last story DLC, no, that was Girls Frontline. I think my apologies. They made 30 million. Nikkei got us a victory, made 29 million. Nikkei these last 2 months have been having a lot of events, a lot of crazy characters. I know this month they have some newer ones. The Naruto mobile game is going up. TCG Pokemon made 24 million. That one's, I think, going to be popular for a long time. And then we're going to go ahead and stop here at number 10, or number 9, NTE. They made 22 million. And then Fate Grand Order made 15 million. Now, NTE, Never to Otherness. We didn't talk about it. I didn't have time to. I think Com and I did try it. I'm not sure if he's still playing it. I wasn't a fan. I do like the combat. It feels very Devil May Cry-y, but very like simple. It's kind of like they do the combo for you. Obviously, the first like week, if you guys followed the game, they had a huge AI problem apparently, where like half the game was AI, and like half the cutscenes were AI or something like that. And so like they had to go like polish that and do that. I did pick it up again. This last weekend to try it again, and I mean, again, it's not bad. I think my problem when it was like the GTA NTE was something like the other game coming out, Anata, where it's more of like you're just a normal person kind of in a gacha world, which is kind of what that other one looks like. Like it's like hand-to-hand fighting and street brawling, which looks a lot cooler, but then you have the aspect of web slinging and all that stuff. And NTE, I feel like it's kind of like I'm playing Withering Waves, like, but just with like a mod, kind of, and I understand that might be a little ignorant take, or that might not be, the best take, but that's kind of what it feels like. And I know there's a lot to do, and it's cool because it's the first of like this new genre that's going to be coming out for the next few years. This new, type of style of game. But yeah, for me, it was just, I don't know. It's kind of hit or miss. It's kind of cool. The characters nowhere as annoying as like other games where it starts off and you have annoying characters right away. I know there is like that creature thing people don't like, but I haven't gotten that far into the game yet, so I can't make a comment on that. I played about half an hour to an hour of the game. So I think it's cool. I think visually it's cool. So it's not bad. I am going to give it more time into it. So hopefully by the next podcast, I'll have a more in-depth idea of it. But initial thoughts, it doesn't look bad. It's just like, I feel like, I don't know. I'm still waiting for a nada over this one. One thing I do want to talk about is, let's see if it's even on the list. Not Chaos. Oh, Sword and Staff. I actually started playing. This game just came out like end of May. They had a collab with Konosuba, which if you watch the podcast, I'm a fan of. So I got on that for that. It's not even on here. So, Mojang Soul, I'm playing that too actually on stream, and I know they popped off because they had a collab with the Sword Art Online, and then they had like Sword Art normal characters, then they had their beach variants where we're just completely like lewd. I didn't get the lewd skin, but I did get Asuna, which I was pretty happy about. That's funny. It's not even on here. So, Duet Night Abyss. I just want to briefly talk about because we didn't have a chance to cover it, but they had like security problems, and then it's like just. Man, Duet Night Abyss is such a tale of just, that sucks. Like, because, man, they started off announcing it. It looked cool. No gacha mechanic. You unlock all the characters. I didn't get a Warframe vibe from the trailers, but it became a Warframe type game. But then the game came out, and it was just underwhelming. And it's unfortunate. I'll be honest, with all the security issues, I think they have delayed content too. I think we might be seeing Duet Night Abyss ending within the next year probably, because I don't know, or who knows, maybe they might go like the Snowbreak route, which I'll talk about Snowbreak briefly too, and a Tower of Fantasy where they survive off switching to a more looter, as they call it, gooning material, which Snowbreak. A lot of people are thinking it's interesting. So the exact company themselves, people don't care about, but the modding community for Snowbreak, they really love, and that's what's keeping the game alive. Is like the modding community is what it seems like from just on the inside out, or from the outside in. And so Snowbreak, they had a month hiatus because they had to comply with China's regulations of how much lewd characters can be. And so a lot of people are kind of dropping that game. Snowbreak 2, I thought it was a cool concept when it came out. When it first came out before it turned into a gooning material. I thought an FPS or third-person shooter type gacha was cool. I thought it was dope. The only problem I had with the game at launch was I overheated my phone like overly quickly and too fast. So I ended up dropping it. And then I picked it up about a year before they got like really into the heavy loot stuff. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with these games because both games had very high promises and high expectations of people. But yeah, if any of you guys watch and you want to comment, what are you guys playing right now? What gachas are you playing right now? I'm currently still playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Not a gacha, but I am playing Mobile Legends. I'm getting really into Mobile Legends, and I'm trying to get to one of the top ranks because one of my friends who is one of those guys, who you want to, not the brightest tool in the shed, but apparently he's one of the top in the world, and I'm like, okay. So like, it's like, and I'm not saying he's dumb, and I'm not saying I'm better than him, but I'm like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And, that solo grind's a pain. But, yeah, so let me know what you guys are playing. So coming into our second topic, Summer Game Fest. A lot has coming out, just some things that I'm going to point out. Obviously, Stellar Blade 2, you're following EVE, not EVE, EVE. or Evia. I'm not sure I pronounce her name. Resident Evil Veronica instead of Code Veronica. Why'd they drop the code? I don't know. Resident Evil, obviously it's something we've talked about. While I really love the series, I think Com has a affinity for it, but he's not really big into horror games. But Resident Evil for me, and if you watch the video on my channel on Resident Evil 9, me and my brother, Resident Evil 2 remake was great. 3 was disappointment. So Veronica, we'll see. It's funny. I never beat Code Veronica when I had it back in the PS2. It was just too hard, and it's funny seeing all the new videos coming up. Why is Code Veronica so hard? But excited. I'm excited to see it. Claire Redfield's back, obviously. Speaking of Resident Evil, though, that new game mode came out for Resident Evil 9. Leon Must Die. I didn't really like it. I understand the premise of it, but I was just like, okay. Yeah, but everything coming out. Gosh, the Attack on Titan 3, Final Fantasy, Stranger Than Heaven, Tupac and Snoop Dogg. That's kind of cool. I'll probably end up playing this game just because of that. Gears of War E-Day. Gears of War, great series too. Well, the first 3 were really great. The other ones that came after were very okay. So hope to see E-Day gets a little better, but we'll see. Final Fantasy 7. The Star Wars racing game, I don't care. Star Wars Zero Company. I'm excited for that. However, I hate games where you make teams and lose people, and it's part of the game. I hate that. I bought XCOM 2, even though I know I don't like XCOM 2 because of that, right? It's crazy to me that you can be like, oh, I got this badass captain. He has every ability. What's that? He was no scoped by a naked green alien from 200 meters away with the 5% chance to crit. Oh, fantastic. Feels so great. It doesn't. It sucks ass. And so, but I know the Star Wars game's in the same vein, so I rebought XCOM Game of the Year Edition too, so that way I can start practicing and getting into it. Guild Wars 3, obviously that's going to be super dope too. And so, yeah, Exodus, that one looks kind of cool too, although I don't really play too much PS5 exclusives. Aphelion, so yeah, there's a lot. The Halo campaign, the thing I'm most excited for, which isn't mentioned here, is Godzilla Melee is coming out. Or is that what it's called? There was so many of the... Yeah, okay, so it is Melee. Well, because it's Destroy All Monsters, but they had 30 of them. They had Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla, Fighter, Creature, whatever. The one I really enjoyed of this Godzilla series of the PS2 era was where you could 4-player fight and everything. It was really cool. Which this game, from what I see, is going to only have 1-to-1 online, but we'll have 4-player local or private, I think, something like that. But yeah, big month for Godzilla. Godzilla's going to be added to Sonic. Obviously, the Godzilla movies, exciting stuff. But yeah, that's about it for the Summer Games Fest. Obviously, there's a bunch coming out. God of War Freya, or what is it? God of War Laffy? Or Laffy, whatever it is. And so obviously, a lot of stuff going on. Whatever you guys are excited for, I hope you guys are pumped for it. Again, right now for me, the Sonic, or not Sonic, well... Yeah, it's the Godzilla Sonic crossover. But for me right now, the Star Wars game is for sure the only thing I'm really excited. Well, that and Sword Art. However, I think I might save on Sword Art. I might wait till it goes on sale because obviously, I'm married and me and my wife are expecting our first child, and so yeah, probably can't get too many things for the Star Wars game. I'm gonna pre-order it probably today, so that way I don't have to worry about it finance-wise later on, and I can't make the argument of oh, well, it's not on the budget. Too late, it's gone. But yeah, yeah. So that's gonna be on Summer's Games Fest or games in general coming out. Let me know what you guys are excited for. If there's any games coming out that you guys are. I know Com obviously was excited for Dead or Alive, the new one coming out. So I'm also excited for that. We'll see when that happens. We'll also probably briefly cover Dead or Alive 6. What is it? Rebirth or whatever it's called. We'll probably briefly go over that, but I don't think there's much to really talk about that, at least on this channel. Next up, just briefly, I know I didn't mention it, but for you Magic the Gathering players, Magic the Gathering Marvel will be coming at the end of this month in June. I am extremely excited for it, but of course, there's a lot of different resources you can look at that if you don't have the money to get all the sets, which I think FOMO is going to be a big thing. Just a quick tidbit on that. These, Universes Beyond sets will be printed forever. There's still Doctor Who. There's still Warhammer. There's still Fallout. There's still all these Lord of the Rings. There's still all these Universes Beyond. So don't feel like you have to get it right away. If there are things that you want to get, though, I recommend watching these videos by, like, the professor and other people that are telling you, like, what cards are best, especially for your deck. I know I myself will be picking up the Avengers precon and then probably picking up some of the more villains precon. I might get the Doctor Doom one. Maybe just because, of the Marvel fanboy in me. But if not, I might just get like specific cards like the Galactus Saga. That one looks pretty cool. I'll probably get that. But yeah, so just wanted to hit on that real quick that, Marvel Heroes and Magic will be coming out soon. So hopefully if you guys are into Magic, you'll be looking at that. Lego Star Wars. So to briefly touch on this, it's just because I just want to talk about it mainly because of the secondhand market. So long story short, what happened was basically a guy, a owner of like one of the biggest Lego Star Wars collections wanted to start selling it. And so they used a store called, well, I don't want to say the name in case anything happens, but they used a Lego selling store, not affiliated with Lego, but like a secondhand Lego store, to sell their sets for them. And then the store would get a percentage and the owner would get the majority, right? The owner of the collection. So a lot happened where basically owners were fired, people were fired, and it ended up to a point to where the corporation didn't want to give back the collection to the owner of the collection. And so they enlisted the help of this YouTuber, and this YouTuber has been uncovering all the scammery and the crazy stuff that this company's been doing. And if you haven't, you should. I think it's by Reckless Ben on YouTube. You should for sure go check that out. But what I wanted to talk about is the secondhand Lego market, which is like insane. I understand like sets from 1999, why they'll go for $5,000, $6,000, almost $10,000 sometimes. I'm thinking specifically of the Lego Cloud City set. That one I think new just ran for like $10,000. I think it's crazy, and I understand these collection markets like Magic. I just brought up. Obviously, Magic has a huge price gougation too. Is it gougation? Is that how it's pronounced? So Lego is one of those ones where, like, for instance, here, this set has been out of stock for about, has been out of commission for about a couple years now. It's now being sold $72 by Amazon. If we looked up real quick, Bricklink. Let's see. Lego. Oh. Let's see how much it'll look. Oh, not Brickopedia. Whatever. Anyways, I'm pretty sure like on Bricklink, this will probably sell for a little bit more. That's actually pretty cheap. That's not bad. I might pick that one up eventually. But the secondhand Lego market's always been kind of crazy to me because they'll like price gouge things so nuts, and sometimes for the most ridiculous reasons. So this particular store in general, I did go to one of their locations in person, and it was like to get a minifigure of a character nobody cares about, and they had like a stock. It was like $15, but I understand. But I think the store's policy is like they can't sell anything under like $5 or something like that. And I thought it was like nuts. And I love Lego. I actually am retired now. I was a pretty avid Lego collector during COVID. I talked about it a lot on stream, and I've showed a lot on stream. And so like I don't mind spending money on Lego, especially when it's like new and stuff like that. But used sets, it's just like, man, dude, some of these sets, especially, I think if you watch the Lego video on this channel, I talked about Knight's Kingdom and like Lego Castle and all those sets. Oh, Lord of the Rings especially, but I get why. I generally think they underprinted Lego Lord of the Rings. But Lego Lord of the Rings, if you look at those sets, like, it's insane. Like, just a simple $30 set is like $300 now. But I get it because, okay, it's Lord of the Rings. They don't make the sets anymore. The only sets they make are $1,000. Looking at you, Minas Tirith. And so it's like, Yeah, the secondhand Lego market is kind of nuts. And it's funny though, because speaking of Bricklink, Lego actually owns Bricklink. So technically the official secondhand market Lego owns, which is crazy that they like monopolize their whole thing. But then you have stores like this one that scam the guy, and other mama and pop shop store that also sell Lego and stuff like that aren't really that, big heavy hitters or anything. But it's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing how that story evolves, because like there's a lot of legal problems going on right now, that like a lot going on. So we'll see how that entails. But yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on it because it was Lego. This next subject is gonna be. Oh, I was like, why is this the Backrooms? Let's just watch the Backrooms. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about this new wave of directors, which started, I think, with Jordan Peele. Now, Jordan Peele wasn't the start. Of course, there are other comedians and other people that have directed their own movies and things like that. But Jordan Peele was kind of the first one that started this trend of comedians going into horror and being directors, and then being good for the most part. Looking at Twilight Zone, failure. But the Backrooms, Iron Lung, Obsession. There's one other one that somebody mentioned that I was just reading the article on it, but obviously these are the ones that are the biggest ones. Now, I watched Iron Lung earlier this year with my brother. We covered it in a review in my other channel, and we watched Backlungs. We watched Backrooms too, but that ended up being like a ranting stream, and I don't necessarily like to be negative. Like, for instance, the Resident Evil review, I've been debating about taking it down. Obviously, nobody saw it, so it's like, it doesn't really matter. But it's still like, I kind of feel bad that for an hour, me and my brother were just crapping on this game. And that's kind of what ended up being with the Backrooms. With the Backrooms, so I'll get into it a bit. But yeah, so it's interesting and it's cool seeing that Hollywood is being threatened by all these directors. Well, maybe not Jordan Peele, because Jordan Peele, I think, went through officially and actually got good backing and all that. But the Backrooms, Iron Lung, and Obsession. Although I think Obsession did have a pretty good budget, but Iron Lung was all Markiplier. I think he all funded it for like $1 million or something like that, or like $2 million was like the whole process. And then Obsession was filmed under $1 million. I think Backrooms was pretty inexpensive too. I didn't look at the exact budget yet because so many articles come up. But it's very cool to see this, that Hollywood is feeling threatened by these YouTube creators. And whether they're good movies or not, whether you like them or not, it is cool seeing it. And it's cool seeing this because they all end up putting out the same message of, if you have a dream, you can do it. If you want to do something, just do it. Iron Lung was great. Again, so my biggest problem with Iron Lung was how many questions are left unanswered, but that's the genre, the Lovecraftian horror. Obviously, they leaves a lot of unanswered questions. That's just the cut of the pie, as they say with that. So my critique isn't really well, no, it's just, I wanted more answers, man, but you're not going to get them. But it's still good. I still really enjoyed it and liked it. Obsession, I didn't see in theaters, but I've seen like all the clips on YouTube basically, so I've seen the movie. I think it's cool. I'm super thrilled to see a movie that doesn't have to do with like demons and curse. Oh, Raka Raka, that's the other one, and I'll talk about them right now. Yeah, it's cool seeing it's not about demons. It's not about some supernatural well, I guess it's kind of like what, quote unquote, supernatural, but it's not like inherently an evil thing. It's just somebody who's just dumb and made a dumb thing. And the actors, I think, were great. I think the actors did a great job, especially for them being like, quote unquote, new to the screen. I think they were in a couple projects themselves, but I think it's really cool. The director, I've been watching his comedy for a couple years on YouTube. It's hilarious. I think he's a bit funny, and it's super cool seeing that creativity come out. I think Peele Key and Peele, whichever one isn't Jordan. Well, Key, right? So Key was talking about horror, which is funny. So there was some film festival, and Jordan P was there, and Key Michael Keegan was there, and they were talking about horror. And instead of asking Jordan Peele, they asked Key Michael, or Key Michael answered the question of what makes a good horror movie. And he's like, well, it's kind of the same as comedy. Like, like you might think, gosh, I don't remember what he said, but basically it's kind of like, it's just all about timing. It's about doing things, it's about telling a story. And even if you think somebody knows the story or you think it's obvious, somebody might not. And that's what makes it so good sometimes. And I think Obsession is a very good, like representation of that. It's like, oh, it's a wish, and it goes bad. And so I don't know. Gosh, I'm trying to formulate it, but I'm trying to think of the exact quote, so I'm getting kind of burnt out, or I'm getting like lost in the sauce. But yeah, but Obsession was cool because it was straightforward, and psychologically, it was a lot. Obviously, I'm not gonna spoil the movie, but that movie had a lot of psychological stuff going on. So it was cool. It was very cool seeing that, and it's great seeing the success of it. Backrooms. I'm happy it's made. I'm happy the director got his shot, but I personally did not like Backrooms at all. I'm going to go to a bit of a spoiler rant here, so if you don't want to hear spoilers for Backrooms, you should probably move on to the next, next subject, which I'll have timestamped on the YouTube video on Spotify or on other platforms. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to let you guys know, but we're going to get a bit of spoilers here on Backrooms. Yeah, I just didn't like the movie. I didn't. Okay. It's like, so this, okay, so you want to know what, for spoiler people, I won't get too much into spoilers, but I'll talk about the main themes of it. And so like, there's going to be some spoilery stuff in it, but I'm not going to say like details. This movie to me suffers of the trope, where you see what the creature is, and it kind of, and by creature I mean the entity of the Backrooms as a whole. It's like you find out what it is, and I think that ruins it. Like, I think that ruins it, and it's kind of one of those movies. It's kind of like Star Wars Force Awakens, where everybody was like, oh, Kylo Ren's really cool until he took out his helmet, then it was horrible. That's kind of what happened here for me, at least. It's kind of like, they had a great first half. It was intense. It was I don't want to say psychological. I was psychological. It was suspenseful, all that good jazz. And then like halfway, you see what it is, or you start to learn about it. And the things you want to learn about, you don't. So it's kind of just like, okay, like it just kind of made it unenjoyable once you started to piece together what it was. And then I think the narrative that they were trying to paint of the characters, I just don't think was good. Like, this movie to me suffers very much from the nothing happens. Like, yeah, there's arcs that end up nowhere or even in a worse position, but they're not even told in satisfying ways of like, oh, the character did drugs, but he stopped, but then, he got home and he saw his wife cheated, and so now he fell back into it and now he's harder, but it's because he's heartbroken. No, that doesn't happen here. It's kind of just like, I'm sad. I'm intrigued. I'm sadder. But nothing was discovered. Nothing was shown. Nothing happened to these characters except like they just thought about something. And so like it just like this is a movie where for sure I'm trying to ask myself like, why did people like this movie? Like I'm looking at people's reviews. I looked at Moist Criticals, and I just disagree fundamentally with almost everything he said, except the setting was cool. The Backrooms as a whole was cool. The actors I think were great. Yeah, I liked all the actors. You could just tell it was like, I don't know. It's like, I think maybe, I don't want to blame the director, but like all the interviews say that he was very the one in control. But it's like, I think some of the directions maybe he gave the actors weren't probably the best, or maybe weren't the best way to get out a good performance. So I think this suffers from the director was happy because this is his story. This is his IP. He was able to explain it more. And so the actors, he was able to get them to do what he wants. But it's like, I feel like if you're not, I don't know. It's like, I feel like if you're not so absorbed by that, see, because here's the thing, because I've been following that guy's like YouTube series for a while, and I just don't see the argument where people are like, oh, it's a continuation of the YouTube series, and it's like, okay, but the YouTube series never explained it as much as the movie did. And like, let me tell you, it just completely like removes the veil of what the Backrooms is, which I think is just dumb. I think what made the Backrooms cool was the mystery of what the hell the Backrooms is. Now, of course, there's still the mystery of why does it exist? How is it here? Okay, cool, okay. But once you find out what causes the Backrooms or what causes the stuff in it, it's just dumb. It's like, man... Again, I'm not going to talk about spoilers in case somebody goes sees it or hasn't seen it yet and you're going to go watch it, you know, with you and your friends and you guys are excited. Go watch it. Me and my brother didn't like it. It's like the first movie I've honestly recommended. Don't go watch in theaters because it's just like, but I'm trying so hard to hear other people's view. And then I'm asking myself, am I wrong? Am I, you know, this snob where I'm like, oh, wow, I can't believe they didn't use a 18 millimeter, you know, whatever the freaking, you know, the most pristine filming is. I don't know, man. The movie just wasn't well written. I could see all the narratives he wanted. And then, dude, oh my gosh. Again, so we're not going to talk about spoilers. But my goodness, bro, the more I think about this movie, the more it annoys me. Because it's just like, there's so many subplots thrown in here. And it's just like, nothing happens. Nothing's explained. And then things you think should be explained or in the back rooms aren't. And it's just like... well, then what the flying front door is this movie? It would have been a better movie if it was just about no clip. Like some dudes no clipped in the back rooms and they have to survive. That would have been a much more enjoyable movie. And you could have still introduced the stupid foundation and the guys in the suits because they could have gotten them out or something. I don't know. But it's like, but what we got was cool. Oh, hi, sweetie. Oh my goodness. Are you listening to my Backrooms rant? It's my cat. Oh, hi, Sophie. She's clearly also agreed with me with my my Backrooms review because she went and saw it with me clearly. Yeah, man. Goodness gracious. I love you. But yeah, Backrooms, man. I wish I could be more positive. I'm not trying to be so negative on it, but yeah, it's I don't know, man. If you enjoyed it, let me know why. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm not crapping on it like, oh, it sucks. It's just horrible. No, I'm not saying like it's a, oh, gosh. Like, listen, man, it's a movie and it was made and it's cool seeing that it was somebody's passion dream. It's cool seeing these YouTube creators and these, sketch artists and all this stuff get to do their dreams. And it's not inherently a horrible movie. It's not. It has good moments. It has good stuff. It's like the ideas were there, but it's just like it just didn't hit. But hey, if the director is happy with how it came out and this is his vision, then I'm glad he was able to make it done. But as a consumer of this entertainment, it's just kind of like, I don't know. And I really want to preference. I'm not a TikTok brain rot where I'm like, oh, why didn't they have this and ring the bell so I enjoyed it? Nah, it's just objectively, I just don't think it was a good movie. I just don't think it was a well-written movie. Visually, it's a good movie. The aesthetics are great. The actors are great. All that. The actors are good actors. But it's just, I don't know, man. So Backrooms, did you like it? Let me know. But yeah, Iron Lung Obsession I thought were great or appeared to be great. And we'll see what comes in the horizon for these directors. I know of the Obsession director already is talking about his next stuff. I think the Backrooms guy is talking about that he might want to make it into a series, I think. And Mark Lepire, I think he talked about he already wanted to make another movie, I think. We'll see what horror game he picks this time. But yeah, outside of that, other movies coming out, Mandalorian and Grogu was okay. Mandalorian and Grogu wasn't bad, but it literally just felt like the first 4 episodes of season 4. And it's just kind of like, okay. But it was cool seeing Star Wars on the screen again. I thought it was well I think I talked about it before. No, I talked about it with Calm off stream where we were talking about one of my gripes in Marvel is when a character's about to die and like people actually start to get emotional. Like they're like, oh, what the heck? Like this character's gonna die. Like for instance, spoilers here: Star-Lord or Rocket died in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think if you thought they were gonna die, I think there's something wrong with like your like cranium. Like genuinely, there was no way in hell Star-Lord or Rocket were gonna die. But people next to me were crying. They were like, oh my goodness. And maybe they're just into the story and the storytelling, you know, because of course, like, you know, some people really like that. They really like that type of narrative. I cry in movies all the time. But Fantastic Four did the same trope too. Spoiler, where Invisible Woman's gonna she dies. And then, you know, Franklin Richards comes in and is like, and then she's back alive, you know, as if you didn't know that was gonna happen when the whole movie they're talking about he's like a already supernatural ultimate being. But you know, hey, you know, again, somebody next to me was crying, and I'm like, all right, maybe it's just they're really into the fucking story. I don't know. Sorry for swearing. Yeah, I didn't like Fantastic Four either at all. But I'm not gonna lie, The Mandalorian, it got me in the sense of this. There's a character who appears that they're going to pass away, but I knew they weren't gonna pass away. But how they didn't pass away did surprise me. I wasn't crying like, oh, they're going to die. No, but it was more of like, oh, so that's what's going to happen. Instead of like, you know, not self-inserted, but instead of like some new cameo. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, the Backrooms. Because see, the actors are good. The backgrounds are good. You know, it was just, you know, you know, yeah. Oh, my cat is being very affectionate right now. But all right, so for this last conversation, it's gonna, gosh, okay. So this is gonna be a more personal topic, and I think what I want to segment it as, like unwarranted guilt. Or maybe like forced guilt, maybe. So to kind of preface this, and I'm not sure if we've talked about it ever on stream, I suffer from OCD. And like I've had it for about 12 years of my life now. And I've been diagnosed with it, like to the detailed no, but I think I have like what's called like I'm not sure what it's called, but basically like the kind of OCD I have like comes in waves of like different things, right? Except for one like always constant factor, which is like germs, like washing hands. But like it'll come in themes, right? Where I'll be like, oh, I saw the color blue, and you know, like that makes me sick or something. So, well, gosh, no, that's not true. So I'm gonna just say it straight up. So like, as you can tell, I'm Catholic too. Occasionally my OCD and my faith like clash a lot, which isn't an uncommon thing in the OCD world. That's a pretty common thing. And for me specifically, where it clashes is when it comes to the more evil side of faith, right? Where like, you know, the darknesses and all those things. And I don't like saying the names because the names trigger my OCD, which causes me to think, you know, and whatever. And so I had this friend named, I wasn't gonna say his whole name, but you know, there's no need for that. His name was Kyle, and Kyle was a metalhead. He and I met in high school. It was my junior year, his freshman year, and we were in guitar class. Now, I, believe it or not, was a loner in high school for quite a bit. I was picked on a lot because of my speech impediment. I was picked on a lot. I kind of was socially awkward in different ways, and it's just because like of just like gosh Sophie yeah, I was very socially awkward, not through like the like normal sense of like homeschooling, how you see a homeschool kid, you're like, oh, you know, but on mine it's kind of like I was picked on a lot, like all of my school career until my senior year, basically. I was kind of picked on a lot. You know, I never really had consistent friends that like stayed. You know, some of them moved schools, whatever. And back then, you know, back yonder, didn't have a phone until I was in college, so like couldn't really communicate with a lot of people. And so, yeah, But I love music. And my junior year is where my affiliation for music came from because I was really depressed because I'd get picked on, at school and I would feel alone at school. And then at home, my parents, God bless them, did their best, but their best wasn't their best, wasn't the best. And so home life was hard too. And so I ended up at one of my lowest points where it was like, I did, trigger warning, I was 15 and I was feeling very suicidal. And, I don't know if suicidal is the right term, right? Because I feel like that just gets thrown around so often. But I was genuinely very depressed. And I really lacked motivation to live. And thankfully, I never self-harmed or anything like that. But what saved me out of that rut was AC/DC. Was the band AC/DC. I got really into AC/DC. I was really into it. And so I started learning how to play guitar. And so eventually, my school, the very next, so that was like the summer of sophomore to junior year. And then my junior year, I saw they offered a guitar. So I signed up for a guitar class. And about halfway through a semester, Kyle came in as a transfer student from some other Oklahoma state, like from like that belt, I think. And he was a new kid. He was, also, obviously in high school when you're a new kid, you're just gonna be alone for a bit. That's not crazy. Because I actually made another friend that was a foreign exchange student. Her name was Helen. She was she was super cool. She was a delight. But I ended up becoming friends with her because I saw her alone and we bonded a lot. She played piano. But Kyle got into guitar class about halfway through the semester, and that was when our teacher finally was putting us into partners. And so again, socially awkward me, well, not socially awkward me, but loner me, didn't have anybody to do it with. And so me and Kyle ended up partnering up. And that's how our friendship started. We started, playing more guitar together. We started to play Xbox together. Me, him, and this other friend started recording like Beatles songs, and like it was cool, like off just a little phone, whatever. And but obviously, Kyle, being a metalhead, was obviously more into visually stuff that I wasn't really comfortable with, OCD wise, right? But it wasn't that bad in high school. Like my OCD had just started like my junior to senior year. So like that's when it really started to take off. But around the time when I got to college, that's where unfortunately like my OCD and my scrupulosity hit an all-time high. So for me, it was like if I even saw like a pentagram, I was freaking out. Like I had to leave. I had to go like pray. I had to go do all this stuff. And so Kyle started to take these photos, doing like, the horns, and all that stuff, sharing Slayer songs. So I kind of had to stop interacting with him. I never unfriended him, and I never wished him bad or thought he would be better. It was just triggers of my OCD. It was nothing I could do. So then COVID, fast forward, that was like 12 years ago. No, that was like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Fast forward to COVID. And I start, thinking about, I haven't seen Kyle in a while. He usually poked me on Facebook and I'd poke him back. That's the thing. I always try my best to still interact with people, even if my OCD's, triggering, but it's just hard. Right. And so I was like, all right, we'll just poke each other, occasionally we still played Halo cause his Xbox profile didn't have anything. But then COVID happened and I think he ended up moving and got into some really bad crowds. And we just, naturally fell out. Or not fell out, but just naturally fell out of touch. And I think I had seen it a couple years ago, but I blacked it out of my mind. But about 2 months ago, or last month in May, I was thinking about it. I was like, I haven't seen Kyle, and Kyle hasn't poked me in a while on Facebook because I have these other friends that also poke me. And I was like, let me go check his profile, see what Kyle's been up to. And I saw that he passed away. And from what I gather, and I tried, I looked up his obituary, I looked up his death report, and there was no cause of death exactly. But from what people are saying, it sounds like either it was foul play by the police or foul play by somebody, and I'm not sure. So I don't want to speculate. That's also why I'm not saying his name, his whole name. But yeah, I saw he passed away, and I think his girlfriend or maybe his wife or his partner is still posting on his page. I guess he passed away in 2022, 23. And that hit like a bag of trucks, man. And then it's kind of what I wanted to talk about, like, like forced guilt or unwanted guilt. Because now I'm thinking about, like, could I have done something? Like, had I been more active with him on Xbox and, maybe help them, make better choices, would the outcome have changed? And ultimately, the answer is no. Like I'm not responsible for his life. We're not responsible for anybody's life unless if you're married. Then obviously your spouse and your kids. Like you have more responsibility. And I'm not saying don't help people when you can, but it's not like if somebody makes a decision, that's not necessarily your fault unless if you caused it and all the other stuff. But like inherently, if somebody makes a choice, it's their choice. You can't really do anything about it. But man, it really did. Really did make me think. Like, did I do enough? Could I have done more? And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's sad, and then it's hard when like you feel not sad enough, right? Whenever something like this happens, or maybe you're in a relationship and somebody breaks up with you and you don't necessarily feel as bad as you think you should. It's not to say you don't care. It's not to say it didn't impact you or anything, but it's just like. It sucks. And in this case, with my friend Kyle, God rest his soul, may be with you, God. It's it sucks because it does hurt my heart, but it's just what can I do? And in my paradigm and wine world belief, hopefully God willing, he is in a better place. But it just does make me think, man, did I do enough? Because I let my scrupulosity, I let my mental hindrances get the better of me, and it sucks. Because again, logically, I know it's not my fault, and realistically, I couldn't have changed anything. It's not because I'm giving him a room in my house to get away from where he was. I couldn't do anything like that. Yeah. It genuinely is something that's gonna be something that I'm thinking about for a while. And it kind of makes you think about a lot of things in life. It's funny. So I found that out, and then like the very next week comes like, yeah, I just don't want to do this anymore. And I'm like, all right, dude, what the fuck? It's the same thing with Comm. Like I'm thinking too, like, did I do too much? Was I being too pushy? Was I and not that I was behind the scenes, but it's like, was I doing too much? Was I not doing enough? Did I trigger some things there? Did I make some things happen? And it's just the mind, man. The mind does a lot, and part of being human is obviously going through these feelings, these emotions, but it's a part of life, death, rejections, heartbreaks, those are all kind of promised things in life, and so, it's just, as I've been going through this, it's just been reassuring to know, that there's always good times and there's always bad times and there's always conflicting times. There's always times of reflection of looking back and thinking, man, not necessarily could I have done better and been better, but how can I be better? Like, how can I work on that today? Obviously in my case, OCD, I know, is usually a what's it called? Well, I don't want to necessarily say a lie, but it's like a half truth, half lie, right? Because it'll be like, oh, well, if you didn't do this, or if you don't do this, this might happen, but you already did it, but your mind's telling you didn't, So that's where like the lie comes in. And so, yeah, I think it's best to recall in life, that there will be these moments of sorrow, of confusion, but it's always nice to remember that you aren't alone. And if you do need help, reach out. There's tons of services, even if you think you don't have anybody near you. But I'm willing to bet you do have somebody near you who can, at least lend an ear. Or, not to be religious, but John's not here, and so obviously I'm talking on my own, have faith, ask God to help. God will never reject you, and so, yeah, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to talk about that for Kyle. Kyle, God bless you, man. I'm sorry if I didn't do enough. And yeah. Yeah, it's a heavy thing, man. It's weird. I haven't gone to a funeral yet of somebody that I know, but people in my life have died that have been kind of close to me, or like not close to me, but like in like family or something, you know. But yeah, Kyle and another friend of mine, well, cousin friend from Mexico. Her name was Connie, but we called her Concha, which is seashell in Spanish. Well, I guess concha is used for like a bunch of things, but like that's how I first learned it. Because concha is also like this, a bread. But concha too. Concha passed away during COVID, but there was like nothing wrong there. It was just she just had an unfortunate accident. But her and Kyle will for sure, I think, always be in my mind of people that it's just like, dang, they were friends, they cared, and you know now they're not here, and it's just like, well, we still are, and we still have to keep going. So, guys, it's funny because always wanted these to be under an hour, and obviously now it's going to be under an hour because he's not here to give his banter back and forth. Going forward, I still will continue this podcast for as long as somebody listens. So if in these next 2 episodes it's like we get no views and no listens, then I'll stop. But as long as one of you guys tunes in and one of you guys cares to hear about my thoughts on things, which I will do my best to make these podcasts. I know I hired one of my friends to help me make shorts because I can't figure out shorts for the life of me. And so he's going to help me with that, and I'm going to pay him for it. So hopefully we can get that rolling and maybe give this a fair shot. I think moving forward, this podcast will become a more like, you know, half gaming, half IRL stuff. I think it's just easier to talk about, you know, because of just the way things are structured. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope if you are by any chance a regular, quote unquote, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're enjoying your time. Once again, Com is stepping away. I hope you guys are good. Thank you guys so much for watching. There'll probably be a newer episode, probably relatively quickly, only because I missed May. And obviously we're in June. This is kind of like the May episode, so the June episode will probably be about different stuff. Because there is one big thing I want to talk about, which is Dead by Daylight. And so, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're going to continue watching, I appreciate you so much. God bless you. And I'll see you guys in the next stream or in the next video. Adios.